All right, y'all. So I finally got my tiny mics back. Um, I lost the adapter for the old one, and I was blown. I've really been trying to record, and I just have this thing about it being perfect. And like at this point, I'm really gonna really try to stick to it. I struggle with discipline, and I'm working on it. It's a one day at a time thing. So my bad. But how y'all been? So and continuing with my story about how I left the LGBTQ community, um, and why I spent the entire summer when I was making those videos that I posted to YouTube, I had been dating. My divorce was final October 23rd. And so I became an officially divorced woman, a divorcee, as they call it. And was that on my bingo card for life? No. But then again, I don't know how much I thought that marriage would be on my bingo card for life. So, you know, but I dated quite a bit during the summer, and I just wanted to share some insight because I used, I, I dated for data. I dated for information. Um, and I enjoyed myself, but I did not date without trying to find out more about myself. If I had to come across a man that could have been husband material or anything like that, that would have been great. But really, I just needed to understand myself in relationship to men. I hadn't been with men in 20 years in any real capacity. I had dated men in between those lesbian relationships, but truthfully, I still had the same fears and hangups that I had and couldn't really date functionally because I still would look at men terrified. And so what's really, really interesting is that I left lesbianism because I understood I wasn't gay. And if you don't know how that works, I explained it. Or did I explain it? Let me give you a synopsis or a Cliff's Notes. My mom and them gave me a lot of trauma, but not physically. But just information about men that was like maybe not inaccurate, but only based on a perspective that wasn't mine. And so I had all these women kind of reinforcing this message that men ain't shit, men can't be trusted, they're the bottom of the barrel, they're always going to cheat on you and mistreat you. And then I had this father who was a drug addict who this father who kind of reinforced all of this because he couldn't show up for me that he was a drug addict. So I think subconsciously when I, got old enough to start having interest in other people, I liked boys, and I always liked masculinity because even when I was in high school, I liked masculine women. And I remember the first girl I had a crush on. She'll never know this. I'm not going to say her name, but she'll never know because I never acted on it. But I now recognize I just was afraid of men. I was afraid of boys. I did not really understand the dynamic. When I lived with my uncle, he still is to this day the healthiest example of a man I have in my life and have had in my life. He's an amazing black man, and I'm grateful for him. But I don't know that by the time I went to go live with him when I was 16, I think the damage was already done, and I didn't have enough of exposure to him and his friends and like those kind of people to kind of change the trajectory of where I was going. So I dated masculine women. I've always dated masculine women. I'm not attracted to feminine anything. I don't like breasts. I don't like vagina, like none of it. So the way I was able to circumvent confronting my sexuality was because I was with women for a long time that were more masculine in a sense of they didn't want to be touched in a feminine way. So that's how I say I'm not gay and I never have been. There's more to that, and I'll explain it another day, but just, yeah. And as you get older and you grow as a woman, your hormones, your biology takes over. That's at least how I'm experiencing, or how I've experienced this experience, is biology takes over. And I can remember the entire time I was with women, I would see relationships, I would see men and women together and yearn for that. I would see a man and a woman together, and I'd be like, I wish a man could love me like that. Or I wish I could feel like that with a man, because you would see how these women look happy, and women look a certain way when they're loved properly, and they feel a certain way around you when they're loved properly. And throughout my whole life, I've had these call center jobs. I've had various experiences with older married women. If you worked in a call center before, or you worked at a front desk, you've worked with an older married woman. And it was completely contrary to all the messaging I got, because I remember this one woman named Miss Marilyn. I worked at HSBC Bank in Cleveland, and Miss Marilyn was like this really pretty older woman. She was probably about 50 when I worked there, and she loved her husband, and she was so dainty and delicate, and her nails were always done. She had this really soft voice, and I thought Miss Marilyn was just the bee's knees in the cat's pajamas. And she loved her husband. That's what I remember. And it's women like that I've encountered that I think over time have just done some of the work without them knowing. Just women showing up, speaking positively about men, because that isn't always the messaging I received. So imagine my surprise, and maybe not surprise, but imagine how difficult it was to finally get out of the space in which you didn't feel comfortable anymore. You feel like you outgrew. And now the messaging is on social media. There are podcasts dedicated to telling you how men ain't shit. And people got receipts. And then the men are also on social media reinforcing the message and maybe they're not reinforcing it in a way that, I'm not dating these men, I don't know these men, but they're talking so harshly about women. It's like, oh, men don't like women. Like, they don't like us. And imagine coming from the background I came from, not escaping the lifestyle, because that's not what that is. I wasn't held hostage. I was there voluntarily. But like, finally freeing myself and allowing myself the joy of a man's love, or the excitement of the prospect of a man's love, just to find out like the message ain't changed. And my mom and them was right. Man, that was hard. And, but for whatever reason, a lot of that messaging I've rejected, and I actively reject about Black men, because I dated Black men during the summer. I dated quite a bit. I was on Hinge, I was on Bumble, I got on Match.com. Like, Match.com is old school. But I got on these dating apps, and I went on really fun dates, and I had a great time, and I met some really nice men. And were they perfect? Absolutely not, but neither am I. No one is. We're all human. Nobody's where they think they are, for real. But the other part of that is, imagine having to still combat this messaging, this programming. I am working double time at that point okay, they told me men wasn't shit. They told me men was going to be like this. And now I come out on the other side, and here go the men like, a woman got to do this and da 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 da. And I'm just like, all the things I've had to work through mentally and emotionally to get here. And here I am. And this is what everybody's talking about. Can you imagine? So I dated. I went on dates. I went on 2 or 3 dates a day sometimes. And it was a ball. I had a great summer. And that does not equate to having sex with all of these men. I went on dates, and I was fine with that, because I was needing to acquire information. I needed information about myself. Who am I? We like to walk around and say, I don't need nobody, and I could da-da-da-da. And it's like, no, I actually needed people. I need people. I need a man. The thing is, it's okay to say you need a man. The problem is, you got to understand the man that you actually need is the man that you want. And the man that you want is someone you're able to need. That's the thing. You can't just walk around needing everybody. I only need a specific kind of man, but I absolutely need him. And I think I have him now. I'm in a relationship. We celebrated our 1-month anniversary yesterday, and that was sweet. It's new, it's exciting, and it feels like second nature. I feel like I'm right where I should be. And I'm having some of the most beautiful experiences with myself. I am learning so much about myself as a woman. Some things I'm noticing is like some of the messaging that was on the other side waiting for me when I came out of everything was, you got to do this. Men don't deserve nice things, and you got to be mean to them, and you got to treat them like shit, and you got to, this, that, and the third. And I didn't want to do all that. That felt exhausting. I want to be nice. I don't want to come up out of myself like I'm a nice person. I'm delicate. I'm not aggressive. What I did learn is how to advocate for myself. And if you can lose all the people I lost, like my mom in 2012, father 2017, grandmother 2018, ex 2019, not my ex-wife, but an ex before her, then COVID, then divorce or separation and divorce. There is no man on this earth that's worth me lying to. That's the truth. Or not expressing myself. The things I've had to overcome to get here did not align with me lying or not advocating for myself in these dating scenarios. So my tolerance was very low for certain things. And I was completely fine with saying, like, this isn't for me. You're not for me. I'm not for you, whatever the case is. And giving people permission to not be for me. And it's not giving people permission in a sense of like, oh, they need your permission. But like, it's okay. Like, I don't have ill will because this ain't it. I don't have no hard feelings about that because that's not how this works. Everybody ain't it. If you're palatable to everyone, then you're not doing something for yourself. So the less palatable I became, the more I knew I was moving in the right direction because bullshit can't sustain. And it's like, I'm not going to be around for bullshit. So, and that's got me where I am now, to a really wonderful man. And so it was just difficult though to really, really navigate all of these thoughts and feelings and then come outside, so to speak. And the messaging is harsher and louder, and there's receipts and there's visuals, and there are arguments between both these parties. When I'm coming outside in peace, I'm like, oh no, men are great. Because I genuinely believe men are great. Men are wonderful. Black men are the salt of the earth. And you can call me a pick me if you want. I don't understand that term because if you desire a man, of course I want a man to pick me. But you understand the egg chooses and then the man has to pursue, the sperm pursues. But that's another conversation for another day. But I wanted a man to look at me and see a wife. I want a man to look at me and see a viable partner for a lifetime. Like, that is my desire. So why wouldn't I position myself and comport myself in a way that is conducive with my end goal? That is the craziest thing to me, because everybody has a bullhorn telling Black women what to do and how to be, when if you come from where I come from, or the generation I come from, women just were. They just exhibited the things. They existed. And you saw how men behaved. I come from a specific school, and I'm so grateful that I had those examples in my life. Even with my mother. My mother was a dancer. I have an older sister. She was also an exotic dancer. So I got the game. I got information from women who worked around. Listen, men are beautiful. We need them. They're phenomenal. They feel good to be around. The problem is we're not putting ourselves around healthy men. We keep accepting less and then blaming everybody. And it's like, that's not how this works. Because I don't want that. I don't want you to look at what you might deem to be a woman who is not on the level for you and then put that on me. That's on her. I'm not going to generalize and put everybody in the same pocket. So what I'm really trying to say is, if you want to date. Dating is not, it's not impossible. It's not hard to do. And you can show up happy. You can show up nice. You can be nice to men. I find that they like when you communicate with them, when you talk to them clearly, when you talk nice to them, when you do nice things for them, when you pour into them. And it don't cost me nothing. It don't make me no never mind to just be nice. And prior to getting in my relationship, I would meet these men, and just kind words, you would see the look on their face sometimes where they would just be like, huh, like, And I'm like, so what are we doing? What y'all been doing out here? Like, what have we been doing? Because it's weird. It's very weird that you are, as a woman, not supposed to be nice. There are literally, I just sent somebody a video yesterday that I came across on TikTok that said how to be mean to men. Men love bitches. This, and this. And I'm like, if this is what I have to do, count me out. I don't want to be with women. I don't desire women anymore. So I was becoming comfortable with the idea that I would be single if I had to do all of that to have a man in my life. I'm not willing to. My heart is open and it's big, and I have love and abundance. It costs me nothing to be nice to anyone, but I feel like this turned into like a ramble. Either way, I dated. I dated for data, and I used dating as an experiment, and I tested out theories for y'all. I tested out these theories that I hear online. Don't tell men nothing, or tell men everything, or be transparent, or don't be transparent, or be vulnerable, or don't be vulnerable. Looks don't matter. Looks do matter. I have tested theories for y'all. When I tell you, I got some feedback. I got some information. I got stories. And I'm here to tell you, as someone who is newer to this side of things, men ain't that bad. They're not the monsters you make them out to be, but there are monsters. That's not to absolve the monsters, but I think we need to do a better job as women, particularly Black women, at differentiating between the two, because they're two different experiences. I'm fortunate that I didn't encounter monsters, and if I did, they never had an opportunity to get to that point, because I trusted myself more than I trusted them in the beginning. And that's the thing, like, if we're going to trust our intuition, we got to trust it. And even if it felt shaky sometimes, like, oh, I don't know if I'm really making the right decision, or like maybe he didn't mean it like that. He meant it like that. Or that's what he would want. That's what he would rather be doing. He doesn't really want to talk to you. It's been very clear and very, very black and white. So I've been having a hard time understanding why dating is so hard. Because if you trust yourself and you trust your intuition more than you trust another human until you learn to trust them, then what's the problem? And then trust them 100% in the beginning. Trust them to be exactly who they are. And bullshit is unsustainable. So if they tell you that there's something that they're not, just remain yourself. They can't hang. If I am Michael Phelps and you are not, and we get in the ocean, you're going to drown before I do, because I am Michael Phelps. I can do laps. I'm trained for it. I am Michael Phelps. And you're not. You've never even been in water. So if you show up with a swim cap and swim trunks, okay, we're going to get in the water and see. And everybody drowns except the swimmers. So that's how I've been looking at it. You'll know. You don't have to be all nicked up and like kirking on people, and trust yourself. Trust your ability to swim. Trust that you know the water. I know the water. So now I got a man in my life who knows the water too. At least that's what, at least that's how I'm experiencing it now. It's the best thing ever. We swimming together, same pace, same depth. And it's a beautiful thing. And so, I don't know, I just wanted to jump right back in, post something. I promise you I'm going to do better. And now that I got my tiny mics back, I'm not even going to stress myself about getting my big camera set up, getting the information. Like, I'm going to use what I got to get what I want, in the immortal words of the prophetess, evangelist, deaconess, Mother Ronnie from the Book of Players Club. I'm just going to do that. So thanks for listening. Y'all, just be yourself. If you're nice, be nice. If it don't feel good to you, then it ain't good, and walk away. Don't let yourself get so invested in a thing that you can't separate yourself from it, unless it's for you. And like, it's really black and white. Like, you You know when these men ain't doing something you want them to do and it don't feel right for you. Let it go. There are so many men out there. They are everywhere. They are everywhere. And just because it's not the man you want, don't mean it's not the man that you need. You gotta, like, these podcasts are killing us. And I'm gonna figure out a way to share the information I have from dating, because these podcasts are really doing us a disservice. The division is insane. And this is coming from somebody who's just been an observer for 20 years. If y'all could see yourselves, excuse me, if y'all could see yourselves from the outside looking in, because I was an outsider technically. As a Black woman, I was an outsider to Black heterosexual relationships, and I have seen the evolution in 20 years. And if y'all could see yourselves, it looked crazy. It looked real crazy. And I'm almost grateful for those 20 years I spent in almost like an incubator, safe and protected in a way from the vitriol and the mistreatment and all of these things. Because now I came out on the other side and I'm just like, I'm not going to tolerate that because I don't have to. That's not what I want for my life, so I'm not going to deal with it. Plain and simple. But I got to go. I got to go back to work. I got my tiny mics back. So y'all know the drill. I love y'all and I hope you love yourself. And yeah, I promise I'm going to keep recording.